business. She does quite a lot of different businesses. And to get this thing sold, sometimes we had to hawk it on the streets. Yes,
Wow.
we hired, and then I said, "Oh, of course, why not?" But I'm interested in a PhD, and then I got that opportunity to start a PhD degree in the Netherlands. While I'm still working. In my head, it was like I have
Mm,
7 years work job security because my PhD was 4 years
yeah.
officially, and then I
Mm-hmm.
have signed an agreement that I cannot leave the company until after 2 years or
Mm-hmm.
something of work with the company. So that's more like you have seven
Mm-hmm.
years job security. Now let me say this: it is not
Yeah.
all free opportunities that will land you or deliver you freedom. One has to be very
Hmm.
careful.
It is not all, let me say it again. It is not all free
That will land
opportunity
you freedom.
that will land you freedom.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Owolabi. When I say Dr. Owolabi, it comes with the full weight of the
No,
Dr.
I'm
Owolabi.
not very used to it.
It is no longer, you've
I'm
not
not
gotten
very
used to
used to
it.
it. So you are in an environment where it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, true, true. I get that part. Don't worry. You're going to touch more on that, you know, on your journey to earning that
I like
PhD degree.
I like to
I'm
do
really
that.
looking forward to hearing that. And I know that a lot of people
Mm,
would benefit from it. It is a pleasure to
thank
have
you.
you here today. What I always say is that I want to bring people that have done so well for themselves, people that are
Mm,
doing magic, people that other people can learn from. I've had the pleasure of working
yeah.
with you in the past. I call you Proudy. Where you come from it. Yeah, I know where you came
I remember.
from. you know, you
I
can't
remember
remember,
when we
right?
were somewhere in the Netherlands. I remember that hotel where you
yeah,
were, and I came
yeah,
visiting, and I think that was where we started this
yeah.
proud thing.
Prouder thing. you know, So I'd say to invite you to real life reflections because I think a lot of people would benefit from this session, especially those that are still trying to figure out, you know, how do I make the most of this beautiful life that I have got? And for the benefit of those that do not know you, I would let you share a little bit about yourself and what should people look forward to in this session today? What should they look forward to learning, hearing, from you
Correct.
today?
Okay, so thank you so much, my proudy, Debola, for this invitation. I'm quite happy and honored to be on this podcast. Reason being that you remember I'm not sure, but in one of the Steve Bartlett posts, I think I mentioned something, and kind of aligned with something you also posted there. Every time you don't have we've learned quite a lot of things in our experiences in our lives and all of that, but unfortunately we are not teaching it, we're not telling a story
Yeah,
out. People are not learning from our mistakes,
yeah,
and I'm one who has always
yeah,
loved to tell my story, to tell my failure in particular, so people can learn from it, and then
yeah,
you don't have to make the same kind of mistake anymore. So that's one reason I'm
yeah.
quite happy about this today. So indeed, my name is Adedotun Owolabi, Dotun for short.
Doctor, doctor.
I am a nutritionist by profession, but I have I've done quite a lot outside of nutrition as well. Um, this is also because I feel I have quite a number of solutions of many problems, and as much as possible, I am not limited by my discipline. So I have done quite a lot outside my nutrition as well. Um, I've had yeah I've just practiced nutrition for a couple of for over 10 years now, um, uh, and that's all where I also have a PhD in nutrition. Yeah, you know,
Mhm.
we'll talk more about that. But basically,
Yeah.
I'm not Dotson Wolabi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So you've, like you said, you've been doing a number of things. You're not limited
Yeah,
to just nutrition. And yes, we'll talk about that. I'm curious to know about Education for
right.
All initiative. I'm curious to know about, you know, your nutrition journey. I read a journal that you published. I think that must be like
Yeah,
few
you're
months
right.
back now.
Yeah.
And I know that you're doing very well.
Thank you.
My question is, how did all this start for you? Where did it start? I want to know what your
Yeah,
childhood, experiences are. What has shaped this person I am looking at right now? I'm
that's a very
curious.
important question you've asked. I remember that before I before I got married, I've always told people that I'm not going to tell a part of my story until I'm married, and that my wife will be the first person probably to hear
Mm-hmm.
that part of the story. And then indeed she was, because I kept it until we got married. I said, well, I'm not sure you know about this. I remember also during my undergraduate days, and I told a couple of my friends, the secondary school I graduated from, he said, no, that's like taking
Mm-hmm.
white color out of a black pot.
Wow.
So that's not possible.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
So I had a very very rough background. I came from a very very humble background. Um, um, yes, and you would never know, of course, if I don't tell you. Um, I remember growing up, we had to. My mother is a business person. She likes to do business. She would travel different
Hmm.
states in Nigeria to buy materials that she's going to sell. And she's done quite a lot of businesses, so many businesses. She doesn't. So she's not one who stays on one business. She does quite a lot of different businesses. And to get this thing sold, sometimes we had to hawk it on the street. Yes,
Wow.
we had to hawk this on the street. And then I remember my mother said I was
Wow.
the best hawker. What kind of
Oh.
compliment is that? What is that?
Award.
My elder
Oh
brothers
dear.
would do the same thing. We've all done all of that to get going. They would do all of that. My immediate elder brother would throw everything away before he comes back home. And I was only the one who sells everything before I get back. In fact, I sell everything, go back again for another round, come back again and go back,
Wow.
until we had to do that. We had to do that to get by our primary schools, especially. At some point, my elder brother got a scholarship, and then he went to one of the best schools in Lagos. Then this was an Abiola school. I mean, MK Abiola school. um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. So we had to do all of that until my mother graduated from that business to having our own store and all of that, and on like that. But that's all we had to do. But then one of the things my mother usually used to say, please
Can
go
I
ahead.
can I ask can I ask a question, Dotun? So where was your
Yeah,
dad at
yeah.
this
My
point?
dad was also very busy because my father is actually a clergy. So my dad is a pastor. These were the days when pastors don't make sense. Pastors don't have money in the olden days. I'm talking about the early days of the 90s. Yes, I think so. Early days in the 90s, like 1990, 1991, 1918. Oh, in fact, 1987, 89 actually, to 91 and 92. My father has always been a pastor. Pastors don't earn money, so but then that's what it was. But so my mother had to do these businesses, you know, like that. But I also remember that my mother used to say anytime she had to go to work or to her business, she asked me, "Oh, come outside and pass by me and say, I'm not sure how to say that in English, ajeo, or something like that, And anytime I do that, she comes
Okay.
back saying, "Whoa, I sold everything. I sold all the bags of rice in my
Oh.
store. I sold all of this, and all of that." So she was always doing that. I knew I had a sense of business. I knew I had something to do with business. I knew I had something to do with changing things. And so that was my background. And then, going to secondary school and then university, you see, the saying that what is what doing at all is what doing well, had always stick to me all my
Right.
life. So it is not irrespective of the secondary school I went to. What I was more interested in is achieving what I need to achieve, even while in the wrong place. I mean, even while in the place where it's termed as a black pot. I'm very determined and focused on my the end goal. So that has really helped me. My upbringing, what is what you know is what you well, and so that has really very
Yeah.
helpful for me.
Wow. So, Dr. Why didn't you ever share this story with me before now? No, 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 no. I think that you don't come across people like you all the time. This is a unique story. And it just sort of made me value you the more.
Thank you.
Knowing how you started and where you are now, it just basically added
More further.
more more further to the whole package, and it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good to know. It's so good to know because I can tell. When you see people do things, they didn't. It's a combination of everything they have
Yeah.
gone through. It's a combination of the experiences they've had. It's a combination of many things, and it turns out that when people do
Yeah.
negative things as well, just take a step back to their
Exactly.
childhood experiences, how they were raised, the environment they grew up in, and you will be able to
Indeed.
understand
You're
where it
right.
is coming from. Thank you really for sharing that story. I think what I would ask then is, if you have this business background, what pushed you into nutrition? What was the what was the you know did you see someone in that space that you want to be like? What inspired that choice of study?
Um, I got very, I got very interested in nutrition because uh, I had always wanted to work with the United Nations. So I had that understanding from my secondary school days when we have done some classes, and then, oh, okay, when you have these current affairs discussions around this and that, who is the current United Nations Secretary General? I got more involved in the United
Mm-hmm.
Nations. So what can I do to get into the United Nations? I was in a science class. You know how they categorize this. I was in a science class,
Yes.
and then I felt, well, the, the United Nations focuses more on humanitarian affairs. So I was a bit more interested in it. So when I went to university, I studied, my first degree was in food science. Um, and as I was almost finishing the study, I found out that food science, is this one actually close to United Nations? I'm not sure. Oh my god! So and that was what that was.
You had the goal,
I had the end in
the
mind,
end in mind.
actually, but I
You
had
had
the
the
end in
end in
mind.
mind.
And I'll tell you this.
So I have to tailor the journey to
That's what
United
we have to
Nations.
do. So for everyone who actually, so many people also have the end in mind. Unfortunately, they don't know how to get there. Uh, you know, Too
Yeah,
many times we'll miss it at one point.
yeah.
But what is more important is
Hmm.
rejoining it when you miss it. Join the
Yeah,
linking, join the links,
yeah,
join the dots. Even when
yeah,
you miss it.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so indeed, I did food science and technology, and all they were teaching me was more close to industry work, how to produce, how to
Mm.
manufacture, how to preserve foods, and all of that.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
preserve food in United Nations. And I had to go and find out
Oh
what else do I
no.
have to do on top of my food science to land me those kind of
Mm.
opportunities. And I realized that,
Yeah.
oh, actually, I had to go into public health. I had to do more around public health. And then I started researching what school. And I didn't want to study in Nigeria again for my master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that it was very expensive to study abroad. And then I started looking for what school in Nigeria can take me for human nutrition. Most schools don't take students from food science because it is almost disjointed. Human nutrition is medicine and health,
Mm-hmm.
but you are coming from an agricultural background.
Mm.
It is very difficult for such students to
Mm.
cope. So most universities have found it difficult to admit students, yeah,
Blend
students
it
who
in.
who are from
Yeah.
food science and technology because they don't blend at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For all my students, all the other friends of mine in the class who also wanted to study human nutrition, everybody tried to get admission into university to to study a master's degree in human nutrition. We were about 40 in the class. I was the only one who was admitted for a master's degree in human nutrition at the University of Ibadan
Wow.
in Nigeria. Everybody
Wow.
tried and they said, and I was not the best. In fact, I was just top 25 in the
Yeah.
class. And everybody
Yeah.
was like, the best student did not even get it. The best student was also admitted to another full science again. Everybody else.
So what was the criteria they used?
You see,
Did you write like a
no,
personal
you didn't
statement or
have to.
something?
For every student, you will be asked, you will be interviewed. You'll be interviewed on why do you want to study human nutrition? You did a food science technology and human nutrition.
Yeah.
It is then they will really understand. It is you. It's all about you. What is the passion? What is driving
Yeah.
you to want us to study a human nutrition course with a first degree in food science?
Yeah.
I guess they probably saw the passion
Yeah.
why I want to solve problems. And I just don't want to solve any problems. I want to solve human health problems globally,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Mm-hmm.
was quite easy. I was the last person I think to be admitted because I was probably the last person who had applied, because I was just trying to abroad. uh, so that's actually how I got into human nutrition, and then and yeah, indeed, it's basically because I really wanted to study. I really wanted to study a course that can help me solve some problems. And of course, where I have had internship with the United Nations, even though I've not started working with them.
Your dreams are
The
valid.
leaves are valid.
Your dreams are valid.
Indeed.
You know what I picked from
Yeah,
from this story is one,
have a
have a
destination.
destination. There has to be a place you're going to. I was talking to someone recently and I said, are you planning for retirement? He said, yes. I said, okay. Because that is a topic that most
Mm,
people don't talk about enough. And how do you know whether you are well
mm,
prepared for it? And then it goes on, yeah, yeah, you know, get multiple streams of income, this and that. What value, when you retire, say at 65, how much do you need on an annual basis after that? Do you know?
mm,
No, it doesn't. So my conversation with him goes, if you don't have a thing that you're working towards, if you don't have a number, if you don't have something tangible or something crisp to aim for, it's like playing on the football field with no goalposts. So you're
yeah,
just
yeah.
running everywhere. You don't even know
Hmm.
what success looks like. You don't know when you get it. You don't know whether to be excited or
Exactly.
not
You
because
don't
you
even
don't
know or
even know.
understand
You don't
what
even
is the end goal.
understand. Yeah, you don't even understand. Yeah. So I like the fact that you have clarity as to where you're going. I think the second thing I picked in that story is also it may not come
No,
easy
you
for
didn't.
you. You may have to take a
Yeah.
lot of routes. test a lot of routes before you get there. That's you doing food science, you know, before your human nutrition. And then the third one is tied to what you said before. Whatever you find your
Do
ants
it well.
doing, do it well. You could have messed up your chances of getting human nutrition if you were, say,
Yeah.
the worst in class.
Right.
I am not sure that that interview would have saved you, but I'm sure you did that food science with
Yeah.
your best, and and when it was time for the interview, even though you were not tops in the class, because of your strong sense of why,
Exactly.
somebody could feel that, they could see that, and they're like, you know what, I am giving this person a chance. So this is an amazing story. Why didn't you share this with me before?
We should have another series of why don't you do this with me before?
Rowdy. Why did you share this? Let me double click
Right.
on nutrition. And my question is, are we in trouble? And I say that because there is this thing I read about, and I've been talking about it since then, which is like a triangle of
Mm,
wellness, which is triangle of physical and mental wellness,
yeah.
wellness in general. And this triangle has
Hmm.
exercise, nutrition, and
Mm,
sleep. And when you hear nutrition, when we were growing up, you would hear something like, oh, you have to have a balanced diet. You have to have a balanced diet. I think the noise now is around, there are so many processed food out there. You should avoid it. If not, you're gonna have
yeah.
cancer. You're gonna. But I have come to realize that, you see, I saw a video that shows a list of food that you should avoid. And because this food are not good for your health and they can actually lead to cancer. By the time I went through that entire list, I just concluded that, you know what, I should just fast forever. I should just fast forever and basically just,
Yeah.
drink water, because everything now looks like
Mm,
it's not healthy, you know. And my question is, are we in trouble? Because how do we then begin to get conscious about our nutrition when all the things that we've been used to, we love to eat? And I'm not going to, I can start giving you list of things, that have been said to cause cancer or some other, diseases in the body. My question is, how do we begin to get conscious? And please break it really down. Don't, because again, when I watch some videos, I'm like, you've not helped me. You've just told me I'm in trouble, but you've not told me how
yeah.
am I going to get out of it. You know, and I don't want to
No.
eat leaves forever. So don't even go there.
Cherish your
I don't
chicken.
want to eat leaves forever. I still want my chicken.
No,
I still
no.
want my meat. I still want all those things. So please, one, what's the magnitude of the problem we are in? Are we in trouble? I think yes, we are. What's the magnitude of that? How do we begin to adjust our lifestyle, our tastes, just so that we can complete that triangle of wellness?
Hmm. It is. It is not as straight as you think. Response to it is not as straight,
Oh,
really, and I'll tell you why. So there's quite a lot of discussions, global conversations around nutrition now. I'm talking about serious conversations. I'm not talking about Instagram conversations that are making money from out of that,
yeah,
because
yeah,
we feel the food system is a bit broken or in crisis. The food system talks about how the food is produced, first, first from the farm, and the process it goes through. If you have to make it a processed food that we eat, and the distributions and all of that, that's one aspect of the food system, and so many other parts. We have come to a point where we are now. We see so many things saying, "Oh, but if you produce more meat in the country, your the production is affecting the climate." And I just like, oh my goodness. So if you have more of beef production, the probability that you're already affecting the climate or the ecosystem is really high. And then
Mhm.
People are pushing
Mhm.
vegan diets all over the world now. Uh, the dairy companies are in trouble because they are asking them to reduce the number of cows they have in their farms, and because they are affecting it. So, and the cows are not produced only for dairy, I mean, for beef itself, and for so many other things. They produce manure also for the plants. So you can imagine how we have interwoven crises, you know, in nutrition. There are stories around eat too much of beef, you will have high level of you have cholesterol, you have these bad fats. So there's quite a lot of
Mhm.
knowledge overload, I think, information overload around.
I agree.
But then, like I always tell people, there is a discussion on personalized nutrition. Everybody most probably also have to take note for themselves. What kind of food helps you? I mean, we have not eaten junks all our life. Our great grandfathers, our parents, who in the olden days ate directly from the farm, are even stronger than us
Mhm.
in these days.
Mhm.
They are living longer.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
it just gives you an insight into why we cannot afford not to eat uh, more fresh foods than processed foods. Uh, when they say processed food, it's been processed. In fact, some of them are not even real. Some of the ingredients that are used are synthetic. They are chemicals that were used that put together and that are now part of the food that we currently eat. We like it. It makes, I mean, it is good. You like baby. But at the end of the day, it brings pain, you know, because people then end up in the hospital because they have a broken immune system. The immune system is broken down, and so they now have to end up in the hospital to manage that challenge. So indeed, we are in a bit of crisis with regards to that, and everybody has to know for themselves what works for themselves. Now, it is not rocket science. And it's not the same for everybody. The solution is not the same for everybody. I see so many recommendations online and I said it does not work for everybody the same way.
Mhm.
We have different
Mhm.
genomes, we have different makeups, and so you cannot apply the same
Mhm.
solution to everybody. Uh, you know, if
Mhm.
I overeat as a person, if I overeat for the last say 2 weeks or 3 weeks, just give me 1 week, everything is gone. 1 week, I'm not fasting. I just need to eat right. My mother-in-law came from Nigeria to our place a few months ago, and she had come with what do they call that now? With gallstone bladder, and she so
Mm.
in pain, so in pain, much in pain that we had to be given a strong pain relief. But then I told her, so, well, you are now here, and I think you know what that means. You have to eat healthy.
Mhm.
Uh, and we
Mhm.
started. I didn't have to organize any meal plan. No, it is very simple. Just ensure that when you eat, you take your fruit and vegetables. Fruit and vegetables every day, not the main meal. It's the side meal. The fruit and vegetables is side meal for her. Eat your
Mhm.
normal food. I'm fine. I'm not asking you to stop eating your egg or
Mhm.
eating your chicken. You eat everything. Don't worry, grandma. You eat everything.
Mhm.
And then this is the second month she's spending with us, and everything is gone.
Mhm.
You know, so it
Wow.
is that simple that everybody must realize that when you eat right, if you know, you'll be fine. You'll be healthy because the body responds to what you
Mhm.
eat. Your makeup, your blood, your
Mhm.
skin, everything responds to what you eat, and that's very very important.
Mhm.
So I always ask people to, and if the body cannot dictate for you actually. What you eat dictates what the
Mhm.
body feels and what the body expresses,
Yeah.
and that's very important. And it has a lot of things to do with it. And that links me to maybe it's good to talk about it now. That links me to what I said I did for my wife when she was pregnant.
Yeah, yeah.
because
Tell me
I
about it.
understand that the makeup of. So I'd always wanted an intelligent and smart child. I cannot afford to give birth to a child
Mm-hmm.
that will not be smarter. That will be looking at me like this and will not be able to, But then, see, everything is in the food. Everything is in the food.
Hmm.
Because as a child is growing in the womb, is responding to the intake of the mother. The child is
Hmm.
taken directly from the placenta of the mother. As the mother is eating, the nutrients is
Mm-hmm.
distilling and the child is taking her home and the body is taking its own and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
In that process, whatever you give the child becomes in the womb. It is not
Hmm.
magic. It's giggle. It's what
Yeah.
goes in is what will come out. It's that simple.
Yeah. Garbage
Exactly.
in,
It
garbage
is that
out.
simple. And then and of course I know the essence of I docus IDHA. We talk about this a lot in our previous
Yeah.
job. I know
Yeah.
that DHA is very important. Some other micronutrients are very, very important. And so if the mother takes them
Yeah.
very well, the
Yeah.
child will come out very smart. A scientist
Mm-hmm.
who is close to me has done it before. He ensured
Mm-hmm.
that the granddaughter had quite a lot of DHA. And then so when
Mm-hmm.
the child was giving birth, they gave birth and then the child became so clever in class that everybody's talking about it in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do the same thing. I
Mm-hmm.
ensured my wife ate a lot of egg. Egg has one of the highest level of DHA.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
she had a lot of egg when she was pregnant. And I find a way to do it to work around it. And I ate quite a lot of fish and so on. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then milk as well. She doesn't like milk when she was pregnant. And so I said, okay, that's fine, don't worry, I won't give you milk.
Mm-hmm.
But then I added some of the food she was eating.
Mm-hmm.
So she didn't know there was milk, but she had eaten, she would like it, say, oh, I like that thing. It's like, oh, nice. Oh. But she had eaten what she doesn't like, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we, even me, I'm amazed that the child we gave birth to was like, eh? So,
Yeah. I said it before. She was like
in a
old
new,
soul
in
in
a new
in a new body.
Yeah, so that's what it is. The
Yeah.
body
No.
responds to what you take in, and so that's very important that we give it that we invest in adequate nutrition for that body.
Thank you, Dotson. Thank you very much. I know you touched briefly on our jobs when we were back home, and I just thought, you know what, let's talk career. Let's talk career. Just, I would like to know, how would you describe your journey in career? Because now I know you're basically doing your own thing with all your
Right.
projects and initiatives, but you have also, walked
Hmm.
that career path. And I'm just curious to know, how were you able to navigate that part of your life? Who has made the most influence on your career? And how has it also shaped this your current journey into
Right.
entrepreneurship?
Thank you. That's a very important question, and I think quite a number of people have asked also that question. Um, I remember when I was studying, when I was in my master's degree, and I knew the end. I wanted to work with United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Something was very important to that, and I knew that a lot of people actually are making that mistakes. Number one is the fact that relationship is very important.
Yeah.
Connecting, networking, it is very, very important.
Yeah.
I am completely, I'm maybe 1000% on networking. In fact, I remember very well in the
Yeah.
Netherlands, I was given one, is it an award I will call it, that the, you are a fabulous networker.
Oh.
Because I realized that it is very important for any successful journey in life. And so
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was going for I asked my supervisor, who happened to be somebody who has really played a very important role in my career, Professor Falake Samuel
Mm-hmm.
at the University of Ibadan. And I told her, I said, I'd like to start attending conferences. And she was quite excited when she heard that. And so she encouraged me to apply to some of these conferences, apply for grants and scholarship if they will give you. Uh, we don't usually get a lot of these things in Africa. So, but then there is no harm in trying. So I kept trying, and I got one invite in the
Mhm.
US for to attend a conference, but they were only going to give me $1,000, and it wasn't going to be enough to go. So she said, "Why not start from home?"
Mhm.
So there was another
Mhm.
conference in Ghana, but there was no uh, there was no scholarship. So I had to work so I can
Mhm.
attend. So I worked, and this was in
Mhm.
2014, and then just got some money together and took me to Ghana for the conference. Met quite a lot of people,
Mhm.
presented at the conference, and that was where I started. It's not enough to make relationship. It is for you also to go ahead and start
Yeah.
nurturing that relationship. Nurture the relationship.
Great.
The relationship will just stay stagnant if you don't nurture it. You don't get anything out of it.
100%.
So I kept that relationship with the people I met at those conferences. After my master's degree, I got a job at this company where we both worked. And then
Mhm.
I really wanted to start working. I really wanted to really start making changes. But then, of course, that's still not United Nations. Remember, that is, so
Yeah.
I still have to
No.
ask myself, are you sure this will lead me to United Nations?
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
then what is more important is solving problems. It is more important solving
Mhm.
problems. But then I realized that it is solving problem is also not just one way. United Nations is interested in ensuring that
Mhm.
children are healthy all over the world, and that children are
Mhm.
taking adequate nutrition all over the world, and all of that. But then, if this organization
Mhm.
produces food, it is my responsibility of to ensure that those food are healthy for the children who are consuming it. So that's how I saw it,
Mhm.
and then I gave all into it, into that job, and to ensure that
Mhm.
we had a good product or good products. You know,
Mhm.
I was not concerned about how much I was earning. I was so passionate about the job that
Mhm.
if they increase my salary or not, I was not interested. You know, as long as we
Mhm.
have a good product in the market and the children are consuming it, I'm proud.
Mhm.
You know, and that was how I started working. It was with that mindset that I started working. The money was not my major, was not my primary goal. It was the impact that was more
Yeah.
important to me.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, see, if you
Yeah.
follow impact, the money will come naturally, actually. Oh my
Of course.
goodness, I have seen that
Of
severally. If
course.
you follow impact, the money will come.
Yeah.
You will be surprised.
Yeah.
The money will come, every other honor will come, so many other things will come along with it. Respect will come,
I agree.
global recognition will come, and so on and so forth. And so that's
Recognition.
exactly how
Yeah.
I started. And in just 1 year in the organization, the company already asked if I was interested in doing a PhD. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you follow
Mhm.
the impacts, all these other benefits will come without
Mhm.
asking for it. I
Will
did not
come.
ask for it. In fact, my intention was to just work for a few months, 3 months, and then just get out of the
Mhm.
place and follow my United Nations ambition. So,
Mhm.
so indeed, that was
Mhm.
how I started, and then I said, "Oh, of course, why not?" That I'm interested in the PhD, and then I got that opportunity to start a PhD degree in the Netherlands. While I'm still working. In my head, it was like I have
Mm.
7 years work job security because my PhD was 4 years
Yeah.
officially, and then I
Mhm.
have signed an
Mhm.
agreement that I cannot leave the company until after 2 years of
Mhm.
something of work with the company. So that's more like you have seven
Mhm.
years job security. Now let me say this: it is not
Yeah.
all free opportunities that will land you or deliver you freedom. One has to be very
Hmm.
careful.
It is not all. Let me say it again. It is not all free
That will land you
opportunity
freedom.
that will land you freedom. Quote of the day.
So
Quote of the day. I like that. Yeah. Please
because
expatiate.
indeed the opportunity was nice, the opportunity was good. Guess what?
Yeah.
I could actually get that
Yeah.
opportunity without having to work at all. All I had to do was just apply for
Mm.
scholarships, present my
Yeah.
project details. This is what I want to do, and
Yeah.
and you will attract those scholarships. About
Mhm.
70% of PhD all over
Yeah.
the world are already funded, anyways. You know,
Mhm.
so you are not in a space where you have to be competing seriously for that funding.
Mhm.
And so that's why I said
Mhm.
it is not all free opportunity that will land you to freedom because I was working at the same time I was studying. It was a hell.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. It was I had to switch my brains every time, because at one point I am
Mm-hmm.
studying, and at the other time I was talking nutrition, I was talking research and development, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I had always tell people that the best marketers or the best business people aren't this stuff. Nobody has
Mm.
agreed to accept. And I will say that because that's what I believe, and that's what happened to me. What was that interested in when I
Yeah.
joined the company? I wanted healthy food for children, but then healthy food can be profitable for the business. Healthy food can be very
Mm.
profitable.
I was gonna I was gonna ask you that was there a conflict at some point between what you wanted
There was a
and
conflict throughout.
what
There
the
was a
company
conflict, and
wanted.
it's also the same thing all over the world. All over the world, all organizations are having to see how do we balance profit and nutrition. We sell products that are unhealthy, but if we have to translate to a healthy
Mm-hmm.
product, they have that misconception that it is not going to be profitable, and they are not likely to
Yeah.
try it.
Could it also be that people would not pay extra to have a healthy product? Because we know that
Yeah.
it's also not cheap to
Yes.
make healthy
We
product.
call it
Would that be a
affordable
thing?
nutrition. And I always tell them at the school, at the not at the school, at the place of work, then that we call it affordable nutrition, but actually it's not affordable because somebody's paying something somewhere else to cover up the affordability.
Yeah.
So indeed, it is not
Yeah.
affordable. We live in a country where we spend quite a lot of money on foods and all of that. Of course, food seems cheap to us. That's because we earn
Mm-hmm.
well. In Africa, where people are not earning
Yeah.
well, everything is expensive. The reason it is expensive because you are not earning well. So affordable nutrition is only expensive, or nutrition is expensive. Adequate nutrition is expensive because people are not earning well. People in the developed countries are not complaining that their foods are expensive because they are earning well. And so, if a country can solve a problem of poverty, you will be able to afford any food. And that's the part I think
Hmm.
we are not getting right, especially in developing countries around the world. Solve the problem of poverty, everybody will produce affordable food. The organizations are not also interested, are not so happy that they're selling unhealthy food, but they are selling unhealthy food because the people cannot even afford the healthy ones. So if the country
Mm.
cannot find a way to solve poverty problems, the companies will produce healthy foods.
Mm.
It's that simple. On the other
Mm.
hand, I always tell companies, and I say, well, there are so many nutrients you have in your products. You don't need them. You don't need them. In one of
Mm.
my publications, we realized that in Nigeria, we are over consuming zinc, iodine. I am telling you, we are over consuming. Yes, I
Are you
have it in one of my
serious?
publications. And now the Nigerian government now realize that it is true that we are over consuming iodine. We were the most successful country in the world on iodine fortification. And then we started iodizing our salt. Then I realized I took a look into the iodization process, and I realized that, oh my goodness, the quantity of iodization was enough for your daily consumption. Was enough for your daily Unfortunately, other foods are also fortifying with iodine. So you are overloading the systems of consumers with iodine. So why not take out iodine, which you spent money for the fortification, take it out from that product and save the
Mhm.
consumers that extra cost? You know,
But if everybody takes it out, then where do
we
we
already
get
hit.
it? From
Look,
salt,
there's
right?
nothing we hit in Nigeria without salt.
Very
There's
true.
nothing we eat in Nigeria
Very
without
true.
salt. So the WHO says you should take an average of 5 grams of salt every day, at least. No, not at least, at most 5 grams of
Mm-hmm.
salt. The 5 gram already has the sufficient
Most.
amount of zinc that you need. You do, and in fact, a lot of times we
Mm.
even use more than 5 grams a day. We eat in the morning, you eat in the afternoon, we eat at night,
Ah,
or even if you eat twice a day.
and we take a lot
So
of
we already
salt.
consume enough from the salt.
even
Your
our
seasoning
seasoning
cube also already
cubes.
has iodine, also have salt. The
Oh
seasoning cubes
no.
also already have those things. And so that's why I felt like these organizations must begin to look into this and take out those things. There are excess costs that you are passing on to the consumers, and you don't need that. In fact,
Mm,
if you do that, your consumers can afford it more. Is that
yeah.
not profitable for you as a business? That's also profitable for you as a business because
Yeah.
now everybody can afford it. You will sell more. So it doesn't make any sense that you're selling to 1 million
Yeah.
people when you could have sold to 10 million people. It's more business,
Yeah.
right? That you sell to 10 million people, 10 million
Yeah.
people at 1 naira than selling to 1 million people at maybe 1 naira 50 kobo or 2 naira. I think it's more business that way. And that's why I
Mm,
said the most
yeah.
business-minded people are the hard on this stuff because I think I understand how this whole thing goes, and I expect that an organization should think in that direction. But I think most organizations are comfortable with the 1 naira they get from 1 million people, and they don't want any change in all
Yeah.
of that, and because they feel there can be some instability with regards to that. So yeah, I can understand that.
We just have to find our way back
We
to
just have to find
nutrition.
our way back to nutrition. Really, really.
Honestly. Okay. So you've basically touched on career, how you landed into that job. And I think one of the things I picked there also is whatever you find your
Did well.
hands doing, do it well. And I think that's where that opportunity also came to you, even though you had gone in there to say, I'm only spending months
Yeah,
here, But I'm sure the energy, the
yeah,
energy, the passion was shining through,
yeah.
and then the
But it's
opportunity
also
came, which
important
was
to know that
brilliant,
it didn't
really.
come cheap because I will share this also because after I got laid off my job, I mean I would always keep that caveat for no reason. Um,
Yeah.
the organization started to act funny. Oh, we cannot sponsor you anymore. We cannot support you anymore. And all of that. We cannot do this. We cannot
Yeah.
do that. After signing all the agreements, so the agreement
Yeah.
didn't make any sense anymore to them. Uh, the
Yeah.
big organization yeah, exactly. So the question then came to me: do I want to continue, or do I just put a stop to it? If you
Yeah.
don't get necessary support, you're likely going to be struggling to achieve it. And a PhD is not something
Hmm.
that you want to embark on as a hobby.
And it's not just for
It's
you to
not
get
just
the
exactly.
doctor, like I always say, I want to do PhD so that I can be Dr. Adebola Ido.
It's not. I mean, you have to walk it. Um, and these
Yeah.
are nations where these are countries where mediocrity is not accepted for earning anything. You have to work for it. Uh,
Yeah.
I have seen students who got to the end of their PhD and the school says, "Sorry, we don't find you suitable for the role for the title," and they didn't give them. Yes,
Wow.
they did not give them. They didn't earn it because they feel that because I see at the end of the day you are carrying the PhD gotten from so school, and everybody just like, how can you finish from that school? Everywhere I go and I
Yeah.
hear that you finish from so school, wow, one of the best schools in the world, and all of that. And then realize that there's more work to
Yeah.
do because you have to live up to that expectation that everybody already has about where you've
Correct.
schooled, and all of that. And so,
Correct.
indeed, it didn't come cheap. It was a lot of work in the midst
Mhm.
of lack of support, that I got from the organization that already
Yeah.
promised you that they were going to do this, do that. Uh, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and that really brought me to a point because at the end of the day, I wept for like 2 years. I was
Wow.
broken because I didn't know where to start from. I was broken. It pained me, and I was in that pain for a long time until I realized. And one morning, I just woke up and I said, "How long are you going to do this to yourself? If you don't do it, nobody will do it for you. You end up on the ground." And then I said, and I came to that point where I
Mm.
realized that the first step of moving forward is forgetting the past.
Hmm. The
moving
first
forward,
step of
forgetting the
moving
past.
forward is forgetting the past.
And I wrote that as one of my PhD propositions. And
Oh,
in fact, when I was graduating, my supervisors, they had to engrave it, that statement, in a wall tiles as a present for me. You
no,
know, that's true. Because
oh,
that was only when I could move forward. Things I couldn't achieve in one
yeah,
year or 2 years, I in 3 months, 6 months, I finished that up. Uh, and that really fast tracked
yeah,
the process of finishing the PhD. So it didn't come cheap. It was
yeah,
quite a bit rocky. The journey was
yeah,
rocky and all of that. But at the end of the day, we got it. Uh,
yeah. I think the when I saw that LinkedIn post to say you finished, I just felt like it was
yeah, it
our
was.
win. You know, when you know what someone has gone through to get something,
Yeah.
you know, and then the person at all the different points kept saying, let me just keep going. I know it's a, at there were no points, or there was no point where you thought about, let me
Oh,
just let it go, move on to something else. So I know we had some conversations at some point and we were both angry, you know.
yeah.
we, were, we
Yeah.
were we
Indeed.
were both angry,
Indeed.
throwing
Indeed.
emotions everywhere.
Indeed.
But you see, you're very correct.
Indeed.
If we want to move forward,
You have to
we just
forget
have
the
to forget
past.
the past, because it
Yeah.
weighs us
That's all it
down,
does
eh?
for us. And
It
then
just weighs us
we accumulate
unnecessary.
pity
Yeah.
parties. Everybody comes and says, "Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
you're
Oh,
right.
and every time you tell the story, there
Oh,
is that.
yeah.
Oh, and I'm like, well, how long are you going to do that for? What achievement have you gotten in doing that?
Yeah.
So it didn't come cheap, but of
Yeah.
course, I think it is not the same for everybody. And that was why I said,
Yeah.
not all opportunities, not all free opportunity will land you freedom. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I was like, if I had just done it the other way around, I could have just gotten a scholarship. You don't have to work, you get free money every month,
Yeah.
you know, and you're fine.
Yeah.
And then you have more time to focus on the
Mm-hmm.
study.
Mm-hmm.
You will really learn quite a lot of things in the
Yeah.
process. So everybody always have to learn how to balance this thinking when you see opportunities. Take
Mm-hmm.
time a bit to think about it and see if it aligns with what you want at the end of the day. If it doesn't, you can
Yeah.
always say no to it. I'm telling you, you can say no to
Yeah. Yeah.
opportunities. It is not an opportunity you accept.
Yeah.
You can say no to them,
Yeah.
and have your
Yeah. I
life.
agree. Some yeah, some
Yeah,
opportunities are
indeed.
distractions.
Some of them are distractions. It's big and huge distractions that
Mm-hmm.
you have to,
Mm-hmm.
So that's very very important for me. That's one of the learnings I have come to. So then I have recently also thrown out some few opportunities. I said, no, don't worry, I'm fine. Uh,
Mm-hmm. For now, I'm okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know.
I agree. I think what I've learned from your story, if I were to summarize it, is that life
Hmm.
is in phases. It won't always be
Yeah,
smooth. You can start rough, then it gets better, then again another dip, then nobody in life can say that it has been a
yeah,
smooth ride. And that's why we would always need that spirit of
mm,
resilience to say, if I go down, you know, I'm never going to stay there. I'm still going to move on, do things, and no
yeah,
situation is permanent. Your story is very inspiring. Coming from, you know, your background, your
mm,
childhood experiences, gone in
yeah,
for something, and then working
yeah.
towards it every day, and knowing that you're still
Yes.
on that journey. Oh, honestly, I wish we could talk about Education
Oh,
for All initiative, because I know that is another
yeah,
pet project
yeah,
of yours, and I know that I read a bit about it, and I truly, truly cannot imagine the
yeah,
lives you will
yeah,
touch with that project.
yeah.
Let's spend a few minutes.
I,
Let's
I I
just,
can I can
please,
talk
you
about
need to
it.
talk about it,
You remember I mentioned that
please.
somebody once commented on my secondary school, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
We had to. I was in science class, but I knew nothing about what science was all about. Science is not just a theory. Science, in fact, science is practical. So if you're in a science class and all you were taught was just theory, you were not in science class, you were just reading. Science is practical.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, many countries in
Yeah.
Africa do not have access to scientific gadgets, instruments, infrastructures to really enable and enhance the learning of these children that are in school, both secondary schools and universities. I remember in universities days, we got crammed around just one particular instrument, maybe like 30 or 40 of us, just one instrument. At the time when
Yeah.
I was at university, the university was number 6 best in Nigeria. And I just like, oh my goodness. And it is still the same till today. The university I finished
Yeah.
from for my master's degree was Nigeria Best University. There's a particular gadget in that school that has been bought since 1978 and it is still there. We used it when I was doing my master's degree in 2015. And this is
Wow.
what Education for All initiative is all about. How many schools can we transform? We visited a school in the United Kingdom and we realized that they had a gadget in their laboratory that was just bought 5 years ago. And now they've bought another one. They said they are abandoning that one. You bought something 5 years ago and you abandon it, you of course you have bought another one. Please give us that one. Let's take it to Africa. People need it. People need it. So this is what we are all about because what we see is that schools are accumulating those gadgets that they're not using anymore. Some of them are also recycling it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's also expensive to
Yeah.
recycle. So instead of recycling, can we
Yeah.
not repurpose it? Send it to
Yeah.
countries where they are needed, and help them improve their knowledge and their study in this country. So that's what we're doing at Education for All initiative. In fact, we are currently rebranding. So you will get to know we're changing the name from Education for All initiative to something else, complete rebranding, because we are adding more values and relevance to the
Yeah.
to what we're doing
Yeah.
to Africans. So Education for All initiative is not just in Nigeria;
Yeah.
it's across country Africa exactly.
Africa.
So we're doing all of this in African countries. Recently, we got some books that we can send to Africa to schools, scientific books, quite a lot of books, and and that we are going to send over to schools in Africa. The only challenge I think we have
Wow.
right now is I am beginning to see some bottlenecks in the government, as and all of that. If anybody gives me any bottleneck, I will abandon that country. So,
I'll
this
move
country, I
to the
don't have
next
time.
country. Oh no, I think this is a
Yeah,
great
thank
initiative,
you.
because I can recognize that lack of equipment, lack of, practical
Yeah,
items to work with. From my secondary school, from even my kids' secondary school, you would always find things there that have been there
forever.
like
Yeah,
forever. So
yeah.
this is amazing initiative, amazing, and I continue
Thank
to
you
be
very much.
proud of you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
all
Thank you.
that you do.
Thank you.
I think it's a blessing to have you
Thank you
in
very
our
much.
generation,
I'm grateful.
and I do not say that lightly. I don't know where you get your energy from. It must be the nutritious food you're eating. I'm gonna be, take more nutritious meal so that I can be more
Yeah.
adventurous
I-
and have more sense. No, really, thank you so much for
Thank
coming on
you very
here.
much.
I really, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing your story. I am super, super thankful for all the things that you're doing in your space and nutrition space in education for all. And I'm looking forward to seeing the
Yeah.
new,
Yeah.
the rebranding. And I wish you
Thank you.
nothing but the best. Thank you
Thank you,
so
Debola.
much, Dotson. Thank you. Dr. Adedotson Owolabi. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you
speaking
very,
with
very
you.
much. Me too.
And like I always say, I will bring you back again, say in another
Oh,
one, two
great.
years. Because
Yes.
at that time, I know a lot of things would
Yes.
have
Yes.
changed. A lot of growth would have been recorded because I really like showing that
Right.
growth story where this
And
is
this
where
is
we
well,
are and
yes.
this is what we're doing now. yes, it's inspiring, and it makes people to say, you know what, if he can
Hmm.
do that in 1 year, if he can
Right.
do that in 2 years,
I
I can.
completely agree
Let
with
me
you.
give it a
And
shot.
so that's
You know,
in fact, we in nutrition globally, we have done too many conferences, and I got angry. Was it last year, this year, or something in the Netherlands, where I went to another conference. After my presentation, or during my presentation, I told all of them, I said, the next time we meet, I don't want to come and tell story. And I think everybody should not come and tell story. Come and tell results. Tell results.
result.
Let's stop
Yeah,
talking stories. What have you done? The last time
yeah,
you came here, you told us what you want to do. Have
yeah,
you done it? And what result did you get?
yeah,
Did you make any mistake that we have to learn from?
yeah.
And that's where we all have to get to if you really want to make any change in this world.
That's
That's
BPMS.
BPMS. No story. I don't have time for stories. Action, action. That's,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's
indeed.
BPMS. What did you say you're gonna do? What did you do?
Let me see. How
Are
can
there
we correct
mistakes?
it?
How can we correct it? What did we do well? Can we, leverage it? That's BPMS. Thank you
Thank you
so
very,
much. It
thank
was
you
good
very
having
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Take care
Thank
of yourself.
you.
Enjoy
Thank
the rest of
you.
your day.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.